بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Okay, so that brings us to 600 AD. Now, Rome and Persia are still fighting. They're still fighting over Jerusalem, and it changes hands in 614 AD, okay, to Persia. In that year, the Jews petitioned, I think it was Chosroes, I might be pronouncing his name wrong, the Persian emperor, to rebuild the temple. And I don't remember offhand, it'll show up on the screen whether he granted it, but it didn't go through. Again, there wasn't enough Jewish support for it. That is why, the backdrop is that both Persia and Rome, after fighting each other for so long, got tired out. And so they could not be used anymore to put focus on Jerusalem to get the temple rebuilding. They were exhausted, both sides. That's why you have the rise of Islam. All right? The purpose of Islam, just like the purpose of trying to rebuild the temple, is to get a temple rebuilt. That's Revelation 11. The temple rebuilt that God doesn't want. And of course, Revelation 12 is all about the persecution of the Jews. And of course, that's why the rebuilding of the temple God doesn't want is being attempted. So that they will think that, God has returned, they have their golden age now, and the Jews will flock to, the temple in the millions so that they can be herded and killed. Okay, enter 610 AD. Okay, the thing with Persia and Rome wasn't working out. So in 610 AD, some demon, and you can prove this, gave the crown to Muhammad. Muhammad even thought that he got it from a demon at first. Yeah, he was right, because when you examine what the Quran says compared to the Bible, you realize that the Quran is a deliberate satire of the Bible, and you have to know the Bible really well to see that. Okay, Walid Shubat, who's very well known, he saw that, and that's one of the reasons he converted to Christianity. He was a Palestinian Muslim, married a Jewish woman, and, was going through trying to reconcile the problem of, the whole Jewish thing, and that's when he discovered it. That's his own testimony in his, the 2007 Prophecy Conference, the first video on that on YouTube. That's how I learned about it. So he saw that Satan, not really Satan, but a demon wrote the Quran, period. It's real obvious. It's meant to be obvious. Okay, so Muhammad gets this Quran, and it's extremely anti-Semitic, and it's key to exactly be the opposite of everything the Bible says, to literally burlesque, make fun of, mock the Bible, and also to mock anybody who believes in the Quran. Now, why does all that happen? It happens because there's nobody to focus on Jerusalem. Persia and Rome gave up. They were exhausted from fighting each other all that time. And if you read A Short History of the Arab Peoples by Sir John Glubb, who loves the Arabs, I don't know if he's Muslim or not, but he loves the Arabs, he noticed this in either his appendix or the beginning of his book. So it's in one of those two parts of his book. Very famous guy, Sir John Glubb. This exhaustion left a power vacuum, which accounts for the rise of Muhammad. And of course, Muhammad dies in 632 AD. The entire structure of the Quran and its religion is designed to burlesque the Bible, hate the Jews, kill the Jews, hate the Christians, kill the Christians. The last surahs 2 through 9 are actually the last surahs compiled in chronological order. The Quran is not compiled in chronological order, but he got those surahs 2 through 9 last. And they're the most violent surahs, and they abrogate most of the nice words in the Quran. If you want more data on that, talk to a guy named Mughal at faithfreedom.org, because he's done extensive research on that. And there are threads on that. The point is that in 638 AD, 6 years after Muhammad died, suddenly the normally Bedouin Arabs who don't do this kind of thing move en masse and coordinated to Jerusalem and take it over. What had happened in the intervening time was that between 610 and 614, Persia had taken it over, and then Rome came back and took it over in 629. Now these dates are really important. 622 minus 490 is the Bar Kokhba. Satan's playing on the 490s, tied to the temple. The 622 is considered the Hegira, which is their Hijra, depending on how you want to pronounce it, which is considered the first year of Muslim calendar. 630 AD was 490 years after the building of Aelia Capitolina. Satan's operating on a timetable. Muhammad, of course, can't necessarily die on time. Satan doesn't have that power. And so, but he did die 2 years later. It was close. So, within 6 years, they're in Jerusalem, Jack. Why? Because there's a power vacuum in Jerusalem. Rome had left. The contingent force, but it wasn't really worth talking about. And then, of course, Persia was exhausted too. So then the Muslims took over Jerusalem from 638 AD onward. They rebuild on the Temple Mount. They suddenly have this crazy vision, which of course was supposed to be of Muhammad rising and all that other garbage. Okay, well really what it was is a claim that Ishmael was sacrificed. Now that's part of the Hajj, which is supposed to mean that he was sacrificed in Saudi Arabia. But in fact, it was Isaac who was sacrificed on the very stone that is the Holy of Holies in the Temple Mount. So it's a burlesque to go there and build on the Temple Mount. And they build it from 685 to 691 AD. Now, Satan's real big on number play, word play, burlesquing, satire, and he uses reversal to do it. All the demons do. It's a kind of it's their wit, I guess. 685 is the reverse of 586. 586 BC, the first temple was destroyed. If you add 586 to 99, which was Abraham's age at the time he was circumcised, and Isaac was born, you get 685. It took 7 years to build the first temple. It took 7 years to build Al-Aqsa Mosque, or Dome of the Rock, rather. So, there's a game going on here. Now, we had an abomination that was there in Aelia Capitolina, but, it gradually fell into ruin. And so now, in 685 through 691 AD, a new abomination is built. Now, over that time, we are now into a new 490 of God's granting of history. You'll see that on the screen. Over that time, he obviously missed the first deadline because, he was using Rome and Persia and that didn't pan out. So now he's using Muhammad's people. And so he's a little off the first time, missing the deadline. He's not going to be off again. The next time, with Islam, it's a 4-generation thing. That was observed by Sir John Glubb at the appendix of his book. Every 4 generations within the Arab caliphates, they run out. Islam loses its power. They get a run for about 4 generations and then they die out. And these runs are keyed to, the first one is off schedule a little bit, but they're keyed to the 490-year segments that God grants of time. And I've mapped them in that Gene Years XLS. So they run from 630 AD to 732, when they're stopped, I think it was the Battle of Tours by Charles Martel in the Pyrenees.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم